as much as we want to expose, or as at least I'm trying to expose how wicked it is, I do have to show you guys the proverbial mirror. You got to look at yourselves, or in this case, women. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and you have to come to grips that this is all happening because of you. You have done spoken your mouth into a literal trap because you could not see afar off. You were just so nearsighted. You wanted to support all the gay men in the world. And hey, fine, you go ahead and do it. But fundamentally, now you have to understand that all the rights that's being taken away from you, all the comfort, convenience, and security and safety that's taken away from you is because you were trying so hard to be like men. You, women, were trying so hard to somehow relate to the gay man. You, women, biological women, you have done spoken so damn much. And now it's sad because now a real man, I have no choice because, again, I do not want to grow up in a society where a bunch of biological males are parading themselves to be women and I don't know what the hell I'm talking to. So women, now it's time for you to just shut up. Somebody has to love you more than you hate yourself. Shut the hell up and move to the side and now allow men, men that are actually masculine, men that actually have a backbone, men that actually fear the Most High, step aside and allow righteous men to come and set order back to society. Because you women, you have done too much talking. You have done too much damage to the community at large, and now you have to step aside. Again, allow real men, masculine men, men that actually have the Holy Spirit, men that actually are being led by the Father, the Most High. Let them come in their rightful place and lead society back to Jesus. Because you women, you have done too much talking. All this stuff that's befallen you is because you have done too much talking. Shut the hell up. You guys, check this next video. All right, I'm gonna try my best not to interject too much, but I think this was a very beautiful video because it summarizes almost everything that we have discussed so far. Check this out, y'all.
Please speak about comedian Jess Hilarious, who has been receiving a lot of backlash for her comments, where she stated, I'm not quoting directly, but the gist is that trans women are not biologically the same as women.
I stand with my sister Jess Hilarious. I'm glad she took the stand because so many black women are afraid to speak up. First of all, I want to make sure people understand what I perceive to be the clear threat in this instance. And I don't know if you can remember, about a year ago, I was on Fox Soul with the Tammy Mack show. And she had a conversation on black male-female relationships. It was myself and another biological male. It was a biological female. And the other person who I thought was a biological female was a artificial woman, meaning he's a biological male. Tammy Mack nor her producers warned us that it would not be two women, two biological women and two biological men. She snuck the transgender in and didn't tell us. Why would a black woman be having a biological male, AKA artificial woman, discussing women's issues, black women's issues, as if he were a woman? I said then that black women better stand up and speak out against this, because the American white power structure is engineering a situation where the natural voice of the biological black woman will be permanently silenced and replaced with artificial women, biological men, who will be standing in and speaking as if they're real black women.
Okay, now let me just, I'm gonna try my best not to interject, but the only reason why I'm stopping this right real quick is because Dr. Umar Johnson, he's extremely pro-black, right? So as he's speaking, he's gonna always try to relate it to how this agenda is attacking the black woman, But you guys, I don't co-sign with his. Although I think a lot of the stuff he's gonna say is true, but I think this goes far beyond just black women. I think this is attacking all women as a whole, and this is the reason why I showed you those two other white women early on in the video that was speaking to Congress, trying to urge Congress to change all the medical malpractice of transitioning young women all across America, and how you could allow someone like a Leah Thomas, a white biological male that's competing against biological females in the NCAA in swimming. All right, so this affects much more than just black women, but let's keep going, y'all.
And the threat in this is the fact that what really matters to black women will never be discussed in the public forum, because the government can control the narrative of the black woman by using these biological men disguised as women. So what Jess Hilarious is doing is important. It's critical that it gets done. We're not going to allow her to get canceled. She's doing the right thing. A biological man can never be a biological woman.
Facts.
He will never get a menses. His breast will never develop milk. He will never carry a child. Last time I checked, women have an XX chromosome. Men have an XY, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't matter how much sexual reassignment surgery you get. You will never have a double X chromosome. Men cannot be women. They can only be made to look like them. Women cannot be men. They can only be made to look like them. But here's the difference. I don't really see biological women living as artificial men trying to speak for black men. I don't see that. I'm seeing biological men living as artificial women trying to speak for black women. And I think the reason why this agenda is in play is black women, unfortunately, not because there's anything wrong with her, but because of the oppression of black men. She's the leading political.
Sick of hiring setters that barely book calls for your business? Use AI instead. We use 5
political voice. The black woman is the most educated in our community. The black woman is the most financially stable in our community. So from the perspective of the white power structure, the way that they're seeing, we've already neutralized black men as much as we can for now. We now got to work on these black women who are becoming increasingly more militant and politically conscious. They see the woke black woman as a threat now. They used her to subdue the man. Now we got to subdue her. So what we're going to do is use these artificial women, these biological men disguised as black women, and we're going to let them be the mouthpiece so we can control the narrative. I hope sisters recognize how important what Jess Hilarious is doing. You cannot let the white power structure silence your voice and replace you with biological men disguised as women. The last point I want to say on this issue with Jess Hilarious as it relates to the racist agenda to replace the authentic biological black woman's voice with an artificial biological man's voice disguised as a black woman. Black women have to take some responsibility for this, because black women, many of them, were open proponents of homosexuality. Black women thought it was cute. They
Yo, that's exactly what I was saying. You guys pay attention, y'all.
thought it was funny. They have black male friends. They hang out with black gay men. The reason black women got to be held partially responsible for this transgender issue, where they want to silence their voice with an artificial woman's voice, is if you supported homosexuality as much as black women did, you allow black men to go to the edge of the diving board. Now he wants to jump off the diving board into the water. He says, I no longer want to just be gay or act as a woman. I want to live as a woman. That's the leap that was made from homosexuality to transgender. Incredible. So although I'm standing in solidarity with my black queens, I need them to understand y'all helped give birth to this biological man reborn as artificial black woman phenomena that the government is now going to try to use to silence your voice. Black women helped encourage this move. They didn't know it would lead to this, but I need them to see how not looking long enough or being visionary enough, looking at the long-term consequences of the stuff that we support, you actually provided the momentum for the transition from homosexual to artificial woman.
I mean, what he's saying, I think is absolutely facts. Please let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think about what Dr. Umar Johnson is actually saying? Because I think he's making very good points. I'm sure all of you probably heard of, Madea, the Tyler Perry movies. I mean, I think that was part of the agenda as well. How you have a big ass black man dressing up in women's clothing and we here laughing at it like it's a joke. Like this is supposed to be comedic. It's disgusting, and they've done it in all throughout Hollywood. You always had the comedians having to dress up as women. They did it to Martin. They did it to Jamie Foxx. They did it to Kevin. What's that little short dude? Kevin Hart. Yeah, they did it to all the black comedians. They always have these men dressing up as women, and we're supposed to ha, this is funny. That shit ain't funny. That shit ain't funny. And now when you have people like a Dave Chappelle who said, nah, y'all ain't gonna catch me dressing up like no damn woman. What they do, they come up with all these fake stories. Oh, he went to Africa to smoke dope, to smoke weed. Oh, he's crazy. He's this, he's that. No. What's crazy is us accepting all this mental illness. And a large part is due to women. Women have always embraced gay men. I just don't get it for the life of me. Yeah.
I think the reason a lot of black women were comfortable with black gay males is, number one, they accepted them. The black gay male was able to understand them in a way that they wish the heterosexual black male would. Black women have a need to be accepted and honored by black men. For women who could not get that from a heterosexual, they substituted it socially for the homosexual.
Now, let me break this down, because I think a big part of it, again, this is still the women's doing, especially in the black community, right? When you have a society where the black woman is literally pushing out the black men out of the homes, whether it be through divorce, I don't need a man, I could do this on my own, right? This woman empowerment movement, feminism, right? When you kick the man out the home, if you have a daughter in particular, what you're fundamentally doing is stripping that black daughter, stripping any daughter in a single parent home, by the way, but let's just stick to black family real quick. You're stripping the black daughter of a positive male validation. I want you guys to actually understand what I'm saying. If the black father was present in the home, that should have been the black daughter's first encounter with positive male validation. Now, because the father is not in the house, that woman, and all women seek validation, by the way. This is not news to anybody. All women seek validation. But if you cannot find it from the first person you should have gotten it from, which is your father, you're going to seek male validation somewhere else. And 9 times out of 10, it comes in the form of some pervert uncle, maybe a cousin, some guy who imposes their will on that innocent young girl, and then somehow she gets molested, raped, whatever the case may be, and her life is changed for the rest of her life. Her outlook on men is going to change for the rest of her life, because why? Her first encounter with the male validation was a negative experience. And guess what? This is where the gay man comes in. Because 9 times out of 10, truth be told, I would venture to say 10 times out of 10, the reason why gay men exist to begin with is because they too were somehow molested or they were raped as children, and that's what causes them to grow up confused. Now, when you have a black woman, the black daughter who ends up growing up, encounters the gay man, what ends up happening is that they form a coalition because they both understand one another. They're both going to say, man, I was raped too. Oh, I was molested too. Yeah, men are doing us dirty. Men are doing us wrong. They form this coalition, the woman and the gay man, and this is the genesis of why all of this started to begin with. I want you guys to understand this. You see, so black women again, you are the cause of your victimization, because when you sought out male validation and you got it in the wrong place, and you ended up being raped. And matter of fact, let me retract what I'm about to say, because I don't want to sound totally ignorant, or I don't want to sound insensitive. There are some women out there who got raped, some who got raped and molested, and it totally was not their fault. I 100% understand that. But again, and I don't want to sound like it was their fault for being raped. But again, the reason why I'm pointing this out is because the black woman, the mom, in that scenario, when you chased out that father out that house, you chased your security, you chased out your protection. So anything that happens to your children from that point on, just understand that the black mom, the woman, right? You caused that on your family because you were too nearsighted. You could not think of far off. You were chasing that black man outside of your house so damn much because I could do it on my own. I'm my own woman. I don't need your help. The moment you did that, you chased out your security and your protection out the home. So anything that happens to your daughter, understand that that mom is the cause of that. Going back, when that woman, the daughter, ends up getting raped or molested, and she forms a coalition with the gay man, this is why we are here today. This is why we're in the predicament that we are in today, where you have a whole bunch of gay men. They've gotten so much attention and so much, they formed this great coalition with women. They have gotten so comfortable to the point where they say, hey, well, F it, forget being a man. Let me just go off the diving board, like Umar Johnson said, and let's become women our damn selves. This is why women, again, as I've said in the beginning of the video, shut the hell up and move to the side. You clearly cannot run shit. You clearly cannot run society. You clearly cannot run families. So shut the hell up and move out the side and allow men to lead their homes, because you have caused a generation of gay sons and masculine ass women. So anything that you see here in this LGBT community, like I said, I'm telling you, it's a very matriarchal, very feminine spirit that has gone to the extreme and has become extremely militant to the point where now they are silencing biological women, which is the irony. The same people that you went and got comfort, you sought out comfort in, the people that you thought you could confide your darkest secrets to, now these are the same individuals that's now oppressing you, competing in the same sports that women are competing in, that are forcing biological women to undress themselves in locker rooms in front of biological men. These are the people that you trusted are now the same people who are stripping you of all your rights, all your comfort, all your safety, all your convenience. The biological woman is completely under attack. Why? Because biological women lacked foresight. Again, shut the hell up and move out the side, because you have done too much damage to the community and to society as a whole. Let's proceed, y'all.
In other words, a black woman wants a close relationship with her father. She can't find a black man to have that type of intimacy with, not sexually, but psychologically. But the gay black male can do that for her. The black woman needs a man to talk her issues through. She can't talk about the rape with her dad. He don't understand. She can't talk about the molestation with her brother or her uncle. She can do it with the gay black man. So I believe the gay black man for the black woman became a substitute upon which she could thrust a lot of her internal issues that she never felt comfortable with enough discussing with heterosexual male. And it's not the fact that he's gay. It's the fact that he can take her perspective better because he's trying to be her. You see it with the childhood transgender movement, these young children. And of course, in California, sexual reassignment surgery is totally legal. You have children out here, Dwayne Wade's son and others, getting sexual surgery to reinvent themselves in the opposite sex before they're even old enough to responsibly make that kind of a permanent decision for themselves. And we as black people are overlooking the fact that this childhood transgender movement, which was refueled by President Barack Obama while he was in office, is nothing other than a form of genocide and extermination. When a boy decides to get sexual reassignment surgery to become an artificial woman, he castrates himself. They remove his testicles from his scrotum. This is no different than the white man hanging the black man in Reconstruction America. We are now voluntarily castrating ourselves. When they take your testicles out of your scrotum, they can't put them back. They're never having children ever. When the girl undergoes sexual reassignment surgery to become an artificial man, they remove her ovaries. She's never ovulating again. She's never getting pregnant. Why are we as black people allowing our children to make permanent decisions about their ability to reproduce? This is not just a decision about whether you want to be a girl or whether you want to be a boy. No, this is a decision about your capacity to reproduce yourself when you become an adult. Once they reassign you, they castrate and sterilize you. Reproduction is over. And black people, so caught up in the LGBT crusade, are not seeing the fact that this is not about LGBTQ. This is about the genocide of African people disguised as childhood transgender. And then there's another point.
So, you guys, I want you to understand something. Again, I know he keeps using the word African people. No. Mankind as a whole. If we choose to adopt this LGBTQ agenda, ideology, crusade, whatever you want to call it, I want you to understand what's going to fundamentally happen. You see, fundamentally what's happening is that you have sided with Satan. And I'm going to tell you why. The very first commandment that the Most High gave mankind was be fruitful and multiply. So what you have to understand is that if you have aligned yourself with any type of movement where now you have no ability to reproduce, you have sided with Satan. Because again, Jesus himself said, if you love me, keep my commandment. If you're breaking the commandments, then you clearly do not love Jesus. You do not love the Most High. If you can't reproduce and be fruitful and multiply, again, we're not talking about situations where people might be sterile for whatever reason. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people who are actively signing up for castration, but they're renaming it and rebranding it as gender reassignment surgery. This is what they're rebranding it as. Gender reassignment surgery. You are literally aligning yourself. You are linking up. You are lockstep with Satan. And again, this is why I called out all those other YouTubers, because when you cannot take a stance on this topic that is so fundamentally clear, I mean, you don't need to be a biblical scholar. I mean, this is literally in the beginning of the book. You don't gotta be no biblical scholar to see how clear Satan is operating in society today. And for you to adopt a position where, oh, well, I don't really care, let people do whatever the hell they want. No. You know, these are the people that they will never ever care about a damn thing until it hits it knocks on their front door. When you have a child and you send them to the public school system and they come back home and you have a son and he's talking about he wants to be a girl, or you have a daughter and he's talking about how she wants to be a boy, when that happens, when that day happens, then maybe you're going to start to care. When you have a daughter that's going into the locker room and she has to undress herself in front of a biological boy, maybe then you're going to care. Maybe then you're going to care, because you see, you're so damn selfish that you only think about yourself. Well, I don't care. Let them do whatever they have to do. And you lack the foresight to see how this agenda is literally opposed to all of us. You do not have to be part of the trans community in order to care about this. No. This is the deception. Again, if you are neutral, you already have chosen a side, and you have chosen the side of aligning yourself with Satan. Period. Point blank. Period. Point blank.
Pedophilia. The pedophiles are active supporters of the LGBTQ movement. Why? Why do the pedophiles care about lesbians, bisexuals, homosexuals, and transgenders? If I am a pedophile, I don't want to go to jail. I'm a celebrity, I'm famous. Ritualistic sex is what we do with kids. It's part of our demonic culture. I want pedophilia to become normal. I want it stricken from the criminal code altogether. I'm going to push LGBTQ because if a child is old enough to decide that they want to live their life as the opposite gender, if a child is old enough to decide, I want permanent sexual reassignment surgery, if a child is old enough to decide, I never want to have children, take my testicles, take my ovaries. If an 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old child is old enough to make those 3 decisions, how can you argue that they're not old enough to decide to have sex? The argument of the pedophile is going to be backed up by this LGBT crusade against our children, because in their sick minds, they are rationalizing the argument before the courts. If he's old enough to say, I don't want my testicles, if she's old enough to say, I never want to have children, if he's old enough to say, I want to live my life as a girl, if she's old enough to say, I want to live a life as a boy and I don't care about having kids, and she can say this at 12, is she not also old enough to decide when she's ready to have sex? That is going to be the argument that the pedophiles are going to take into court. And unfortunately, although I don't agree with it, I think they're going to win the argument. LGBTQ is the mask the pedophile movement wears to get their agenda pushed. And LGBTQ is the mask genocide wears to depopulate the world of African people.
All right, you guys. So you've heard it. You guys, as I finish up and land the plane here, I want you guys to really understand what I'm talking about here, all right? First, before I finish off, if you like everything that you've been watching so far, please like, subscribe, comment down below. Please comment down below and share, because believe it or not, it does help spread the message, and hopefully it can wake up more people. But let's actually land the plane here, all right? You guys, again, we are living in a time, right, that if you choose to remain mute, you might think that you're doing yourself a service. Well, hey, I won't get canceled. I'm not going to affect my pockets. I'm not going to, okay, cool. You might think all of this stuff right now, but again, there are wider implications whenever you choose to stay mute or choose to stay neutral on a topic. What you're fundamentally doing is agreeing and signing consent, and you don't even realize it. Again, as a real man, not a male. If you're a male, this message is not for you. But as a real man, how can you see women being attacked and not think that you have a duty to protect the woman? Again, I'm totally aware that women have caused this upon themselves. I'm totally aware that women have tugged themselves to a proverbial grave or a proverbial dead end. Let's say dead end, because it's not 100% over. But they have tugged themselves to a proverbial dead end, and now they are trapped and they need help. And as a real man, you need to have the backbone, the intestinal fortitude to actually protect these women. I understand they done talk themselves again to a ditch, but we need to pull them out. Not so that they could run their mouth into a ditch again, but this time, women, as I've said before, shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. Stop siding with the gay man. Stop siding with all the queers and lesbians, gay, transgenders, and all that stuff. Stop. Because again, you did not think it through. You did not think it through. Because now your rights are being taken away from you. And again, what's going to happen? As always, men are going to have to come and save the day. Men are going to have to be in their rightful order and lead the home in order for all of this to come back to its proper place. Now, I want to say this too, right? Truth be told, from a biblical standpoint, all we could do is stop the bleeding, but Satan is going to keep doing his job. The only person that can really save the day is Jesus when Jesus comes back. But what I am saying is that if you just stand by, I'm an innocent bystander. There's no such thing as an innocent bystander. There is none. Again, it doesn't affect you because it may not have knocked in your front door as of late or yet, but wait until you have children. Wait until it's your daughter that has to go into a locker room with a biological male and see if you're comfortable with that. Wait until it's your son that's coming to you and saying that, oh, dad, I want to be, or dad, mom, I want to be a girl. I want to maybe I should chop my penis off. Say goodbye to your grandchildren, because if your children can't reproduce, how's your legacy going to continue? How's your legacy going to continue? That's what I'm saying. Do you think afar off? It's easy to be so self-centered, self-absorbed, right? That you don't have the vision to see afar off and see how this affects society as a whole. But again, you guys, this movement is extremely satanic, and it is coming to a store near you. You get what I'm saying? You know, I'm joking, but I'm not joking. This movement is very militant. When you have them walking in the streets and chanting, "We're coming after your children. We here, we queer, we're coming after your children." When you hear them saying those chants, you think they're just joking? You guys, they are coming for your children. And just like Dr. Umar Johnson said at the end, you know, ultimately, where all of this leads to is pedophilia. Again, you may not think far enough, but you see, someone such as myself, who I have a child, I'd be damned if I allow anybody to impose their will on my child to rape them, molest them, or anything of that sort. I'd be damned. And that ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. At least not me being an innocent bystander. I'm not. No. I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna fight tooth and nail to protect my child. And I hope that I'm appealing to anybody that has a real masculine spirit for you to understand that, am I gonna just allow these people to come impose their will on my child, or am I gonna actually fight? And this is what I'm saying. When you see all the queers and all the drag queens in schools twerking in classrooms, that's normal. When they read in sex books to your children, that's normal. No. Wake up out of the stupor, you guys. Wake up. Wake the hell up and fight against this agenda. Again, I don't expect everybody to do it, because I already know that most people are so spineless. They have such a jelly back. They're not going to actually have the intestinal fortitude to try to fight against the thing, because all they care about is themselves. Those are selfish individuals who all they think in their mind is, I don't want to affect my pockets. I don't want to get canceled. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to be ostracized in society. So they themselves, they're not thinking far enough. So I can understand if people remain mute. I'm not talking to those individuals. I'm talking to real men, real women that actually have the intestinal fortitude to fight against Satan's regime. So if you enjoyed this clip, click on the full video right here. And if you would like to see more videos like this, click on the playlist right here. Game hard, y'all.